Oh, have I listened to Logic's music, my friend? No, I haven't ever heard a Logic song. If you were to ever, what the hell else would I marry? Jesus Christ, Logic.
My favorite food is, I'm a McDonald's guy.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I like the Happy Meal because they give you little prizes.
Yes, I understand when you're filling stadiums with 3 million people, all of whom are holding up those little cell phones with the lights on them and saying, oh, we're here, don't worry, we're still here, we haven't left yet.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
Why not?
I could have you killed for just asking the question. Older than God. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't think it. William Howard Taft, best fuck you've ever had. They're looking at each other going, guys, we thought we had a podcast.
Yeah, we got one.
What's up, guys? It's Logic.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
What's up, guys? Logic. You all hear me?
Is this what you want?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Logic. This is Logically Speaking. And today, I am sitting alongside an amazing man, creator, actor, comedian, writer, producer, singer, one of my favorite musicians of all time, Mr. Seth MacFarlane. Hello.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I'm in your fucking library.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't have to leave my house.
Yeah, you didn't have to leave your house.
Thanks for coming, I guess, would be
I appreciate
the right
that.
thing to say.
It's actually really cool because as a person, like, I know what it's like to have somebody kind of invade your space. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you letting us be here today. It means a lot.
Absolutely, man. No, it's my pleasure.
For
You've
sure.
invaded this space before.
I have. This is actually literally right here is where you recorded your verse for Self-Medication off my album. And that was really cool, kind of coming here for the first time and meeting you. And honestly, especially just in the world of entertainment and like all that you've accomplished, it's like you're such a young man, like for real, dude. And you've accomplished so much. So like to come here as such a fan of you and to be invited into your home when we recorded that, it was really special. I wasn't sure what I was going to, meet, the man I was going to meet.
Not
what
who,
I was going to meet.
what.
Yeah. And I was nervous. For sure. And I'm a little less nervous this time because I had 2 scotches before I got here.
Yeah,
But
you had some bear fight.
I had some bear fight brought to you by Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. I'm going a little easy tonight. I had a lot of bear fight last night, and
It looks like an alien cocktail.
It
from,
is. It's just
the
a
Orville.
it's just Kool-Aid.
Okay. Everybody likes a little blue juice.
Mm-hmm.
But no, man, like, coming here and meeting you, it was really amazing. And obviously you're you, and I know, the effect that you've had on the world and all that. But for me personally, it was really special, to meet somebody that I truly consider, a hero, and meeting you with open arms. You're just the nicest fucking guy. You're like everything I wish you would have been, and you are. So thank you for inviting us into your home yet again. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure, Bobby. It's my pleasure.
Look at that. Call me Bobby. I like that. That's who I am.
So for your podcast, would you rather?
I'm no
It's
Bobby.
like when you're in my office, I'd like you to call me, Dr. Marvin, right?
No, Bobby.
Should I call you Bobby or Logic?
No, that's how I know we're homies.
Okay,
You call me Bobby.
All right,
yeah,
I'm calling you
goddamn
Bobby.
right. Or Daddy, whatever you prefer. Anyway, so I kind of want to just take this all from the beginning. I'd love to know, what was your household like growing up as a kid?
It was. I grew up in the woods in rural Connecticut in a house. Rural. Yeah.
I never know how to say that word, but okay.
I don't think you can.
Rural?
How do you say it?
I say rural, and then somebody
Rural.
called me a fucking idiot, and it was just rural, and I'm like, there's like 3 R's in that.
I think that's fine. I say room, and I take shit for it all the
Rum?
time. Yeah, room. Like, oh, it's in the other room.
How do you say bagel?
Bagel.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. My mom, she would say bagel.
Yeah.
Anyway, your childhood.
Well, it's like in Philadelphia, they say water
They do?
instead of water.
In Philly?
I don't know. That's what
Water.
That's how Neil deGrasse Tyson says it. So I just assume.
Yeah, he's
everybody
weird.
Everybody from
I'm just
Pennsylvania says it that way.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I grew up in the woods in a timber frame house that my father built.
The fuck?
He collected colonial era tools for many, many years. These antiques that adorned the walls of our house as decor. And he decided one day, I'm going to build a goddamn house with these things. And it took him, it was a tight 7 years to build the house. And
How old were you at this time?
I was probably, when the house started being built, I was probably in I'm just guesstimating. Probably like the 4th grade.
Okay, so you're like a solid 8.
Yeah. And then around high school was when we kind of wrapped the project. But, you know, old fashioned Amish house raising, bunch of guys with ropes pulling the frame up. Yeah, it's a solid, the thing could withstand a tornado. It's a good solid house. So that's where I grew up. You know, parents were ex-hippies. Dad was at Woodstock. Mom probably would have made it if she hadn't been too high.
Okay.
But
weed in the house.
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah. Yeah. So that was, you know, it was a very nurturing, supportive environment. My mother was in college guidance. My dad was a teacher. They never tried to get me to become a doctor or a lawyer or do something honest with my life like that. They were like, fine, you want to get into show business? Go ahead.
That's amazing though,
Yeah.
that you would have that support. And how old were you when you kind of knew that and they were there to support that dream?
I mean, you want to get technical about it? I was probably, you know, from the age of 2 on, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Okay, so you're 2 doing what? Hello there, Brian.
I'm 2 years old, and obviously I don't remember this, but my parents saved the drawings. So they said, "Look, you drew this when you were 2 years old. You sat in front of the TV, you know, with a pen with your little baby carrot fingers, and you drew the characters that you would see on TV. And there was very crude Fred Flintstones and Wilma Flintstones and Woody Woodpeckers and whatnot.
Do they still have them?
I believe they still have them. Yeah,
Dude, that's like,
yeah.
let me get one of those. I'm gonna just sign it to eBay. You know what I mean? That's really special, man. When would you say you kind of began to do your first form of animation, even if it was just on the page? How old would you say you were?
Flip books, probably around, probably 5 or 6. I'd started.
Damn, bro, that is like. You know, my parents were smoking crack when I was 5 and 6. Like, that's amazing.
Well, I didn't say that mine weren't.
Wow,
you
man.
didn't ask me that question.
I like that. That's incredible.
Maybe that's why it was working so well.
So, as a kid, outside of this, I mean, did you have any other hobbies, or was this kind of your whole life?
You know, my sister and I were both very involved in the local music.
Shout out Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel MacFarlane.
The God.
We were both involved in about to say the local music scene, but even that sounds just too...
Sounds like you're Eminem and 8 Mile when you say it that way, like Papa Doc.
For a town with like 12 people in it.
Okay.
But, you know, we both did a lot of local musical theater, that kind of thing. You know, Gilbert and Sullivan, Rodgers and Hammerstein, all the classics and whatnot. And that was really the only other thing that occupied my time artistically. It always took a backseat to the drawing. The drawing was always the priority.
Wow, man. That's crazy. You know, when I was a kid, I used to just draw Dragon Ball Z. You ever heard of Dragon Ball Z?
I sure have.
I would just draw like these characters who were like fighting. And my mom, she was like super like Bible thumper. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, she would always like rip them up and throw them in the trash. So I didn't really have...
What is that? Where does that phrase come? Is there a lot of like...
Bible thumpers?
Actually,
no, it's when they take the Bible and beat the shit out of you when you do something wrong.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, I don't know.
I thought it was like something way more innocent, like they're thumping it like this.
Yeah, like
it's
clapping.
in here.
Yeah.
It's in here.
I don't know, maybe.
Have gay sex. You know, it's like, I thought that's what they did.
That was a crazy thing, not to just like take this insane tangent from your beautiful childhood. But like, I remember when I was a kid, you know, my mom would always say like, homosexuals will not enter the kingdom of heaven. So I was like being raised with this.
Yeah.
And I never felt that way. And I remember as probably around 12, I saw this documentary and it really changed my perspective on everything. And it was like kind of like I forget, it was some kind of a documentary situation. And there was a group of people sitting in a circle and there was one gentleman talking about what it was like knowing that essentially he was, you know, in the closet his whole life, and he was 17, star quarterback. His dad was a Marine. He was supposed to go, you know, serve our country, all this other shit. And he just knew, you know, he was faking it, had a girlfriend. They never did anything together. It just it wasn't who he was. And he knew in his heart of hearts that he was attracted to men. He wanted to be with men. And he was so scared because he thought he would be ostracized from his family. And I remember watching this as a kid. And he then goes on to tell the story, long story short, that he came out, he told his father, and his father beat him an inch from his life.
Wow.
Cast him out.
Oh my God.
And he never had a relationship with his family ever again because his father...
Yeah, who can blame him?
Exactly. And that was the moment whenever I heard people be like, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a fucking decision,
Yeah.
brother. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, it is not. Who in their right mind?
That's my cousin is gay, and that was exactly what he always said. What, with the way we've been treated, who would choose? Who would make that choice?
Yeah.
It's nowadays, hopefully better.
For sure. So back to your great childhood.
Yeah. Boy, it got dark there for a second.
I know. Who was your first crush?
My first crush, God, wasn't for everyone my age, wasn't it Alyssa Milano?
Oh, wow.
on
Nice.
on Who's the Boss?
I like
apparently,
that.
my friend Scott Grimes, who's on the
Oh,
Orville.
shout out Scott.
Yeah.
Sings like
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's
Yeah.
Ghost. He's amazing.
Apparently, I think they might have actually dated.
What?
Yeah, this is like the big revelation one day on the Orville set. I could
Wow.
be wrong about that, but I believe they actually dated.
My first crush was a little girl. I forget what her name was. Also, I was a little boy, so it's not weird. And I just forget, but she was in a green dress, and she was so sweet. And it was like first grade.
That's very Charlie Brown.
For sure. Yeah,
You
very
know?
Peanuts.
Yeah.
And I go up to her, and I don't know what it was. I had some piece of shit ring. I was like, I don't know, I had a fucking bubblegum wrapper or something. And I give it to her, and I'm like, will you marry me? And then she has 2 kids hold me by both arms, and she kicks me in the stomach.
Oh my God. There's yet another
And
story.
I loved it.
This is yet your second story you've told about somebody getting beat up.
Yeah, that's true. Welcome
Yeah.
to my childhood.
Yeah, I guess, man.
So,
I better pace myself here.
why?
No, it's just.
I'm too in. You're fucking up. It's just Kool-Aid.
Non-alcoholic. It's just Kool-Aid.
Come on.
Yeah.
Have you ever drank Kool-Aid?
I
Have you ever actually drank Kool-Aid?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like in the sticks they make like something completely different.
Well, yeah, it's a good. Yeah, I do remember
Like
my
from
parents.
fresh berries.
There was something called Juicy Juice.
Juicy
that my parents.
Juice.
It came in like a big giant can, and you opened it with one of those
I like
things that left like a triangular hole.
Yeah. Very white.
Yeah, it was very and very like it was like the way there was always like some brand that wasn't the one you really wanted as
Oh,
a kid.
dude,
It's
tell
like
me about it.
like like I'm not going to get you Hubba Bubba, but you're getting
You're getting Bubba Gump shrimp.
Yeah,
That's what you're
exactly.
getting.
It's
You're getting
exactly, yeah.
Bubba Bubba.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for me, I always really was obsessed with peanut butter Crafton Crunch, and my mom would always get me
peanut butter Crafton Crunch.
Crafton Crunch, and my mom would get me Kicks.
Yeah,
Kicks,
yeah.
bro. Kicks is
Yeah.
like cardboard.
Yeah, yeah. My dad called it chemical cereal. You don't want that. That's chemical cereal.
Chemical cereal. Yeah, that's
That's a thing that doesn't exist now. If you notice, like the amount of everything was a cereal. Like every time a movie would come out, there would be a cereal to like just some like sugar. They just pumped us full of sugar back then.
Yeah, but also I know it might sound random, but print media is dead. So it's like when you could promote something with this or that or that, like nobody does, unless you're Travis Scott and you have your own McDonald's. Travis Scott, he's a rapper. He has his own McDonald's
Does he
meal.
really?
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a McDonald's. He had a McDonald's meal. And then
Yeah.
Jack Harlow, another rapper,
Yeah.
he has the fucking KFC because he's from Louisville, Kentucky. And they gave him his own KFC meal. I mean, you made it.
Yeah.
You're from Kentucky
Yeah,
and you have
yeah.
your own KFC meal. Like, fuck that guy. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so you're a kid. You're 2 years old. You're already a genius. You know what you want to do with your life. Was there ever a moment of doubt or like you wanted to play baseball or anything like that? Or
No. There. I never wanted to play baseball. I do remember my dad taking me out into the backyard at one point.
oh shit, where's this going?
And he had an actual baseball, and I said, of course, I was like, what was I, probably 11 years old or so. I said, maybe shouldn't we start with a tennis ball, something a little less of a potentially deadly projectile. And the first time he threw it, my reaction was this, and I got just bashed in the jaw, and it was like we're not doing this anymore.
Did he let you know it was coming?
Yeah. I think this was like it was the 80s, and so it was like as progressive as they were, there was still like, I always dreamed of having a son that I could play ball with, and
Yeah, I mean,
I think now he's over it.
I used to wish I could play catch with my dad. Too bad he was just catching cases. He was in and out of jail and things like that. But that's
That's
okay.
almost a Rodney Dangerfield joke.
I try. I do these bits.
Please don't catch him like that. He's too busy catching cases. Yeah.
Yeah, even from my dad, I get no respect. So, have you ever caught a baseball?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good one.
I mean, you have no way to verify that, but yeah. Yeah, sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so high school, what was that like for you?
High school was, have you seen either Dead Poets Society or School Ties?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the kind of high school I went to.
Okay.
I went to my parents.
So like one black guy.
Yeah. No, believe it or not, my grade school there was one black kid.
Okay.
And he was there for like 2 years and we became friends and then he was gone.
Well, why did he move?
I think he might've been a foster child. I said that like it was some big mystery, but I think he was a foster kid.
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah. But when I got to high school, it was this boarding school that my parents worked at. And so at the time, if your parents worked at the school, you got to go for free. And this was like a very like old money Republican school. I think there were like, 50 members of the Young Republicans and 3 members of the Young Democrats, one of whom, as I recall, was me.
Nice. I like it.
And it was a fantastic education. Like it was really a phenomenal, as much as I dunk on that school for its conservative bent, it was really a fantastic education. And it was my first kind of glimpse outside the bubble of my hometown, because you had kids from India, from Africa, from Asia, from everywhere. And it was a very diverse school. And it was kind of it was a nice place to kind of get an early look at what the world was like.
And how far was this from where you lived?
About 5 minutes.
Damn. That's incredible, man.
Yeah, I was a day student.
That is, that's really, really amazing, And I feel like that's something that's definitely needed, diversity and just knowing different cultures, and not even just make it about a race thing, but as a human thing, and to know where other people come from. I think it's extremely important. And I can also see how, as a comedian, meeting different people from all walks of life, that there's a lot of bits there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
can be, which can be very fun. Cool. So first girlfriend.
My first, oh boy.
Let's go. Let's take another drink.
My first girlfriend. I remember having a girlfriend in like the 5th grade.
That doesn't count.
But that was like I think my dad drove us to like Chuck E. Cheese. That was like the date.
Nice.
And I pretended that I didn't know my dad.
I feel like you said the 5th grade.
Yeah.
So you're about 10. That's
Yeah.
like the last like acceptable time to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, exactly. So that was I think I called my dad Jeeves.
What?
I think we sat in the back of the station wagon and I referred to my dad as Jeeves because I didn't want this girl to know that.
Of course she knows it's your dad.
Yeah, I know. But I was a kid. I was an idiot.
It's funny. I remember when I was, I had been like 13 and I met this girl at the skate park. I forget her name. She was really tall. Let's call her Groot. So she was super tall, really sweet, really nice. Well, there was 2 girls.
Tall.
There was 2 girls.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a chick who looked like the middle kid from Step by Step. She was slamming. She was banging.
At once?
At the same time.
That's so funny. You're
Well, no, I mean, I met them there. It's not,
That's actually a close friend of mine, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Slamming. Anyway, so I'm skateboarding and they're both there. And I start talking to them like through the fence because I'm like the badass poor kid. And I'm talking to them, we're vibing, we all kind of become friends. I get both of their numbers and we're talking. And I really got a thing for the Step by Step.
This is your first. It's
my first real situation. Yeah. So I'm digging Step by Step chick. You know what I'm saying? Like she's she's beautiful. But also, don't get me wrong, Groot was fine, but she was just like 6 feet taller than me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, this is cool. So we would like all talk on the phone. We were all friends. And then one day I call Step by Step girl and I say, listen, girl, I want to make this shit official. I'm being real. I was like, I want to make this shit official. Like, dude, like you're so pretty and you're so nice and sweet. And we both like Eminem. This is great.
Eminem, the singular, right?
Yeah, the rapper.
Yeah.
And then also, who doesn't at 13 like chocolates?
Yeah, I mean,
So I'm like, let's make it official. I want you to be my girlfriend. She's like, okay, cool. But what about Groot, whatever her name was? And I'm like, she'll be fine, baby. It's you. It's always been you.
Yeah.
So,
you were this smooth at that age, huh?
I am half black, Seth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of that.
Well done.
It's a thing on the internet. Anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's hang out. Yeah. So she comes over with her mother to pick me up to go roller skating at the roller rink. And I'm the kind of guy, I don't know about you, I'm going to be honest. And I want you to be very fucking real
Absolutely.
with me.
Would never be anything less.
Be honest.
Yeah.
When you meet somebody and you shake their hand.
Yep.
And they go, hey, my name's whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you remember it?
Almost never.
Exactly. That is how I am. I shake your hand and immediately forget it.
It just immediately goes away.
So like, I'm like, oh my God, Step by Step Groot. This is amazing. So Step by Step girl comes over. I fucked up. I was talking to the wrong girl. It's Groot.
Wow. This is like a Three's Company episode,
this is
man.
like really wild.
You're Jack
so
Tripper.
In my
That's
mind,
like-
I'm like, all right,
yeah.
second string. Let's go. Whatever. Let's make it work. So I get in a car.
Yeah.
We drive all the way there. And I didn't call her Mother Jeeves or anything. And we get there. And she goes, Groot, can you just go in and give us a moment? I just want to talk to little Bobby. And
Oh,
she
wow,
goes,
okay.
She goes, okay, Mom. And this is the moment I knew I was poor. This is the moment I knew I was fucking poor, okay? Other side of the tracks, wrong side. And she goes, now, Robert. And I was like, oh, shit. And she goes, I can tell that you're a good young man. And my daughter deserves to be treated with respect. And I know you will treat her that way. And I want to give you this. And she handed me the crispest $50 bill
Oh, wow.
I
Hey.
had ever seen. Bro, this is $50 in 2003.
That's a big deal when you see your first.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like
is it
over
Jackson?
like a
On
10.
50? I don't
It's a
know.
big deal.
Whoever's on the 50. I still don't know. Anyway, I'm so
I
poor.
should know too, huh?
Whatever.
Who is on the 50?
Of course,
This
dude.
is horrible.
So either way,
Yeah.
I take the money and she goes, now I know you don't have a lot of money. And she was so fucking sweet about it. She wasn't extra. She was like, but I want to make sure that you and my little girl have a lovely night. And I thought to myself,
It's
bitch,
so sweet.
I thought, bitch, I'm only going to spend like $20 on this and I'm getting groceries with the rest of this shit. So anyway, that was my first girlfriend.
So your first girlfriend was actually was like a mix up. It was like a Mrs. Doubtfire mix up.
Yeah, but she ended up being really cool, and we went to
Yeah.
like swim meets. She would
Yeah.
swim. She was like really tall.
So did you guys continue to go out, or did you
Yeah.
have to say at one point, you know what, there was a mistake, I had the wrong number, I mixed you up with somebody
no,
else?
I kept it going. The
You
only thing
understand,
is
don't you?
My mother, she was like, "Is she Christian?" You know what I mean? So it became this whole thing.
Is that how your mother talks?
Oh yeah.
Really?
And then I just remember, well, definitely not like that. But anyway, I remember my mom like coming over to her house for something, and then she left screaming, everybody's a fucking cunt and they think they're better than us. And she dragged me out of here. You're never going to see this girl again. And, you know, I'd see her once or twice in high school, and she was so tall, you know, she was like a Verizon cell tower. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't miss her. But
Do you think she'll know if she listens to this that that's who you're talking about?
I hope so. Because you were really nice. You were a good person. So anyway, back to your, who's like your first real girlfriend? We don't got to say names.
My
if
first
you're uncomfortable.
real, yeah, I probably didn't have my first real girlfriend until college, really.
Oh, wow.
You know, I had there was a girl I dated in high school, I think my senior year, who was way too cool for me, like way too cool. And I made her laugh a few times at lunch, and suddenly like, hey, she likes you.
Wow.
And
So like what?
I just had no, I was like, I mean, look at, I'm still an awkward son of a bitch. Like
No,
I had
you're
no
great.
idea what to do back then. So, yeah, but it was probably college. My first
What
girlfriend.
year would you say of college?
Oh, probably junior, senior year. I was a late bloomer, man. I
Hey
was
man,
a very late bloomer.
I feel that. So you're like what? 20?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I guess that's late, huh? Never really thought about it.
No, that's not that late. I really think everybody has their ebbs and flows and shit. You know what I mean? No, it's a real thing. Like my first real girlfriend, I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
The difference between us is like I never really had a lot of love from my parents, so I never truly understood what unconditional love was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this girl, she showed me what that meant.
Right. And we were bombarded with AIDS PSAs, so that was really all I was thinking about.
Are you serious?
I think that was, I remember as a kid just being constantly bombarded with like,
You're
you
gonna
know,
get AIDS.
Exactly. Whatever you do, you're going to get AIDS. That might have had something to do with how long I waited.
You're crazy. So in college, I'm having fun. You having fun?
I love it, man. I love it.
Okay, good, 'cause
I
we're
feel
gonna
like
ha-
we should be playing chess, but I don't really want to play chess.
Yeah, I'll
I feel
fuck
like that
you.
would take a lot
I'll
of.
fuck you up.
I bet you will. Oh, that's right. You play chess.
I play at least minimum 20 games a day.
Yeah. Do you really?
100%.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not playing chess.
It's all good. I
Yeah.
mean, we could do it and wager your house.
We could. This is more here as decor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't drink till I was like 27, 28. So I'm ending my college years.
Yeah. That's. I recall I didn't really drink much at all in college either. And I got my 20s, and I was like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, it's funny because even our song, not to self-promote, but self-medication, I mean, for me, that whole song is about how, for me, the greatest form of self-medication has always been creativity. Like truly, like being able to write, whether it's scripts or ideas, music, songs, this, that. And it's like, this other shit to me is just folly. I've never done anything hard personally. Folly, darling.
It's just folly.
It's folly. It's folly, Jamaican. Anyway.
It's folly, Bobby.
So, a little Stewie in there got me excited.
By the way, I am enjoying a bear fight mixture now.
That is a good, that's a good bear fight brought to you by Logic and Seth. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, yeah. But with, I enjoy weed. I love weed. I try not to smoke if I'm working, obviously, unless it's just like whatever. Like today I was at rehearsal for my tour,
You know these songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You smoke a little joint here or there, whatever.
Once it's in you, it's in you.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But with Scotch, it was definitely, there was a time like 2020, like through COVID, honestly, where I didn't have anything to do. I was retired for a couple of years and I didn't have shit to do. And so I was like really enjoying it. And it was great. It was fun. It was never, I have a line actually on the same album. It's a song called Village Slum about addiction. And it says, I've been trying to drink less, but I feel like when I drink, I'm at my best. Not a care in the world, no stress. I wake up 7 days a week and get the job done. I'm always there for my wife and my son. But at the end of the day, I love to pour one, more like 2, but occasionally 3, and it scares me. Not because I have a problem. I'm the type of person, if there's an issue, then I'm going to solve them. It's more like seeing how this shit has destroyed life. I look at my mom, I look at my dad, and see how drugs and alcohol took away everything they had, and it makes me sad. And it's actually why I wear this Alcoholics Anonymous shirt.
Well, people are getting a free show.
That's true.
You tune into his podcast, you get a free goddamn show.
That's right.
Yeah.
But for me, I was just kind of scared straight as a kid from like seeing true heroin addicts and crazy shit in my household. So I feel like I definitely have a good relationship with it now. Yeah. By no means was it off the hinges, but I was getting fucked up and I was waking up hungover a lot. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like the way this makes me feel. So
yeah, it's interesting. I remember my dad is sober now. I remember my dad drinking, he'd be working on the deck and he'd be drinking, he and his buddies, 10, 15 beers over the course of that sounds about right.
It's pretty sexual. I like that. It's pretty hot.
That might be an exaggeration for comedic purposes, but I didn't have that. I didn't learn the lesson that you did. Probably because my dad was a very peaceful, intellectual, nurturing fellow.
Did you ever find yourself drinking a lot or anything like that?
When I was in my 20s, I remember like just going to like parties and I would just pour straight bourbon and just, wind up at Bob's Big Boy at 2 a.m. enjoying a delicious Grand Slam style breakfast.
One of my earliest memories of you is actually with a nice brown thing of liquor in a cup. And I was watching Adult Swim one night. Do you remember this? We were sitting in front of a fire.
Oh, yes, that promo.
And you're like, I'm Seth MacFarlane.
That was also in my house.
Really?
Not this house, but my old house.
Okay, I like that. Wow. Yeah. But that was hilarious. And I just remember always watching that like, man, one day I'm going to sip some brown liquor next to a fire. And then I did. You know what's crazy? Actually, real talk. We're going to get back to the life story here in a minute. But
you want me to turn on the fire?
No, because then I'm just going to be hot as fuck. I'm going to sweat and then we're going to be annoyed.
It'll look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be hot as fuck.
I forgot what I was going to say, asshole.
No, you're saying I remember.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're asking the wrong guy.
Shit.
By the way, that gets worse.
Drinking by the fire. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I remember coming to your house for the first time, the last time. I've only been here twice. And this motherfucker, he's like, hey man, you want to see my bar? That's my Seth, by the way.
The number of stories about me that start with this motherfucker.
I love it. So he's like, you want to see the bar? Yeah, let me give you a tour. This is every time I do this. Let me give you a tour. So we go downstairs. He shows me his fucking nightclub.
Shadow Stevens.
He's got this nightclub downstairs. And there's all this just incredible whiskey arrangements. And then he goes, hey, you want to see the theater? Why'd I say it like that? And I'm like, yeah, sure. All right. I'll see your theater. I have a theater. I'm like, all right. You've seen one. You've seen them all.
I feel like you make me sound like James Brolin.
No, you're cool. You're very cool.
You want to see the theater?
You want to see the theater? It wasn't weird. It wasn't like the casting couch or anything like that. It was just, so anyway, so he takes me into this theater. It's fucking IMAX theater. And I'll never forget this. And it actually gets me excited for the rest of my life because I'm old and 33. And we're in the theater and we're talking whatever we talk about because we're awesome. And he goes, and I go, damn, motherfucker, this shit makes me feel broke. And he goes, you're young. Like literally, that's all he says. He goes, you'll get there. And that was very sweet. So anyway, back to college.
Yeah. Oh God. Wow. That was so much more interesting.
No, we want to know about you, Seth.
Man. Wow. I like hearing how I come off to other people.
Honestly,
because you just don't know. You never know.
No, realistically,
I'm pretty suave. Sounds like
you're definitely suave.
Yeah,
you're a fun guy. You're not a mushroom, but you're a fun guy.
A mushroom,
and it's a bit. It's a joke. There we
mushroom
go.
Fun guy.
I may rap.
Yeah. My 7th grade science teacher made that joke, and I'm so happy that you just felt comfortable making the same joke.
I'm a dad. I have children.
Yeah.
You make dad jokes.
Good wholesome comedy is not dead.
You want a good dad joke?
Sure.
Ask me to give you a dad joke.
Give me a dad joke.
Will you give it back? Oh shit, son.
Wow.
Snap.
Wow.
Okay. So college.
Do you want to hear? Oh, no, I'm not going to tell you.
No, let's go.
No.
Let's go. If it's too bad, we'll edit
gonna,
it out. Don't
my
worry.
My mom.
I like
the only reason I'm saying this joke is my mom used to tell this joke at parties.
Okay.
And I'm gonna edit it using different terminology than she did.
All right.
My mom used to tell this joke. Cinderella's about to go off to the ball, and the fairy godmother says, "If you're not home by midnight, then your vagina." My mother didn't use the word vagina.
Okay. She said pussy.
Yeah.
What you can say pussy.
Really? I think that would be the same guy who said, "Oh, Bobby, you're young." I don't think that would, really.
No, but you're the cool guy who's like, "You're young." Speaking of which, we're getting some pussy tonight.
Anyway.
Okay.
Your vagina will turn into a pumpkin if you stay out after midnight. Cinderella goes, "All right, no problem." She goes off to the ball, has a great time, comes back at like 4 a.m. And the fairy godmother says, "Well, Cinderella, what did Prince Charming do when your vagina turned into a pumpkin?" And she goes, "Oh, I didn't go with Prince Charming. I went with Peter Peter."
I don't get it.
You don't get the joke?
I don't get it. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know the Peter Peter pumpkin eater?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Did I just have to fucking explain that to a guy as talented as you?
That's a good one. Peter
The point being, this was like the joke that my mother would lead with.
Well,
God bless her.
Great woman.
Yeah. She was. She was a great woman.
That's amazing. That's a good. What is Peter Peter Pumpkin Eater? I've heard that term.
I think it's
It's like 1930s.
It's
I'm
like
thinking.
Peter. All I remember is Peter Peter Pumpkin Eater had a wife and couldn't keep her. Is that right?
I have no fucking idea.
Couldn't feed her.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Because eater rhymes with feeder. Boy, wow.
Dude, your mom's awesome. That's all I gotta say. Your mom's fucking
That should not have taken me. I would make a terrible Columbo with what it just took me to get to that.
What's Columbo? That's a joke. That is a joke.
God, thank fucking God.
That is a joke.
Wow, yeah. Well, like, what's the cutoff point? Like when I made that Three's Company reference, do you know what that is?
Of course.
You know what that is?
100%.
Okay?
Three's Company.
So how far back does it go where
John
it
Ritter,
starts?
bro.
Yeah, okay. Like, so that's like 80s. So like, I'm trying to like One Day at a Time.
I don't
Do you know that show?
No, I don't know that.
About an alcoholic?
No, definitely not. I know Sanford and Son.
Okay, well that's around the same time. So
Okay, yeah.
I'm already boring myself.
No, this is great, man. People are going to fucking love it. So, all right, fast forward. You're out of college. What the fuck do you do? You got a degree in what?
I got a degree in film at the Rhode Island School of Design.
Well, that didn't fucking work out, apparently.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
And my last year, I was like, shit, I don't know what I want to do. My sister was going to I know it's getting that flake.
No, I always do this because
watch?
I swear to God, I don't. I did.
Or was that? I hope to God that was a look at what I have, man. Look at how many fucking diamonds are on this. Look at this thing glitter.
It's a plain Jane, but it is from Japan. Anyway, no, I'm so mindful of my guests and their time.
No. This is my activity tonight.
All right,
it's not like
it's going to be a 3-hour podcast,
it's not like
ladies
I have
and
this
gentlemen.
and 2 other things. It's this. This is all I have.
All right, well, fuck it. I'm not looking at it anymore.
I've cleared everything out for you, Bobby.
Thank you very much, Seth. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Logic here, and I just wanted to tell you that this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp offers affordable and convenient online therapy on a schedule that works for you. I'm clearly reading off camera because I want to make sure that you guys get every piece of information possible. It's the same professional service you'd get from an in-person therapist, but with the option to communicate when and how you want by chat, phone, or video call. Getting started is easy. Just go to their site and fill out a brief questionnaire. Then they'll match you with a licensed therapist based on your needs and preferences. If you don't find the right match the first time, don't worry. You can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Go to betterhelp.com/logic to get your first month of therapy for free. Now, I really mean it. This is important. This is special. Seek it out. If you need it, these people are truly here for you. They've been there for me.
But what the fuck are we talking about?
We were talking about some shit. Oh, college film.
College, yeah. My sister was going to the Boston Conservatory of
Rachel,
Music.
shout out Rachel.
And I was like, God, I might want to do something like that. So I'd applied to the Boston Conservatory for musical theater for the grad program. Got accepted, and before I actually, got in the car and drove and packed my bags and all that, I got a job offer from Hanna-Barbera.
Ooh, this is where it goes.
Yeah.
And you're how old?
I was 21.
Oh my God.
20,
You're
21?
just set up.
Yeah.
This is what's so crazy. Like, you guys don't know what's coming. I know this. I know part of the story, but please continue.
Yeah. I mean, I had made a student film that was just 16 hours a day of drawing and filming. This is the myth. Like, it wasn't like nothing was. You can have stuff like there's people like Donald Trump who have stuff handed to you.
Huge. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. You can actually do the same thing by just working your ass off. That's not everything. My parents also worked 3 jobs apiece to put me through college, so I was lucky in that regard. But those things all being equal, then yeah, you bust your ass. And it was luck and hard work. There was very little talent involved with my succeeding.
I don't know about that.
It was
kind of being an asshole saying that. You're kind of a genius of the generation there, Seth, but okay.
But it was like 16 hours a day in this enclosed space, probably about the size of this chess table. And you would have this big animation camera that was surplus from the military that somehow our college had gotten a hold of.
Nice.
You put your drawing in, put the glass platen down, take a frame, pull it out, put the next drawing in, put the glass down, take a frame. And that was my day. And so I had made this film.
How long was it?
It was probably about 7 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And it came to the attention of Hanna-Barbera, and they offered me a job. And again, this is where the luck comes in. At the time, they were steering away from the old guard scripted programming, and they said, we got to freshen things up. We need some new voices. They had a show called What a Cartoon that was basically a
classic.
Yeah. Do you know What a Cartoon?
Of course I do.
That was how I got started.
Amazing.
That was my break, was that, gave new green animators a chance to do their own stuff.
That's actually, sorry to interrupt you. That's one of my most fond memories from my childhood, if I'm being completely honest. The What a Cartoon was incredible because it was always like different animation, different stories, different things, these almost like vignettes. Do
you remember that terrible theme?
For sure.
Yeah. And I remember Gendy Tartakovsky, who created Dexter's Lab, super talented animator.
Classic.
Yeah. Really talented guy, very nice guy. I remember sitting in a meeting where there was some question about those of us who got there late, said, hey, you guys kind of voted on the theme. What was the reasoning behind that? And I remember Gendy saying, at the time, and then just the room just breaking up with laughter because it's just like, all right, that's all we need to know.
At the time. I love that.
But yeah, I did a short called Larry and Steve. And then
I remember this. I'm excited for
Larry
you to
and Steve,
continue.
yeah.
Let me shut up, please.
That got me a job working on other shows there, such as Cow and Chicken. I did outlines for Dexter's Lab at one point, and did most of my writing on a show, get ready, called Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had a ball doing that show. That show was a blast.
So sorry,
That's how I met Adam West.
when they picked you up, if you will, they hired you. Was it more as a writer or an animator or both or what?
At the time, it was both. And then they quickly realized that I was a better writer than an artist.
I think you're a great artist.
They said, yeah, we maybe are not going to have you do storyboards for us because we have a lot of people who are much better than you are. But this show needs writers. Go and do that. So, and thank God they did. Like it steered me towards, look, there are artists on Family Guy who took my designs of Peter and Brian and Stewie and made them make sense and look better and all that. So,
and may I also say, Larry and Steve was the godfather of what?
Of Family Guy, of course.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
That was, I remember watching that as a kid, seeing Larry and Steve, and you voiced the dog just like Brian, right? In your voice.
Same thing, yeah.
That's crazy. I think, there's a gentleman named Ernest Cline who wrote and created a book that Spielberg turned into a movie called Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, he had this idea for well over a decade. And sometimes, even now as a creative, I think about ideas that I have that are merely in their infancy or even just the idea of. And sometimes I get a little down on that because I have so many ideas as a creator and I don't know what should I do or build on this or that. And like, it's stories like that. And even what you're telling now where it's like, dude, sometimes you can just let things live. And if you have this going on over here, work on that. And when the time is right, it will present itself to possibly bring that back. And in many ways, I think in even a better way than if you had been given the opportunity to fully fledged, just like do it in the beginning. So if Larry and Steve had been given its own show, like Family Guy would have never been created. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to kind of see it that way.
It's funny because there was a pivotal point. I remember Cartoon Network saying, we'd like to make again, it's been a while, so I could be, the brain plays tricks on us constantly, but I believe they said, we want to do a series for Cartoon Network based on Larry and Steve. And what I'm fuzzy on is how many, whether it was like a 13 episode or 22 episode, but there was an offer of some kind from Cartoon Network to turn that short into a series. Wow. At the same time, there was a new head of development at Hanna-Barbera, this guy, Adam Shapiro. I gotta give him credit because he introduced me to all the Fox folks. And he wanted to get Cartoon Network, rather Hanna-Barbera, back into the adult animation business. And so he, at the same time, said, listen, I want to take you over to Fox to meet some people. And I said, all right, I've never been to the Fox lot. Where is it? And he was like, it's over on Pico. And I said, great. Where do I go when I pull in? And there was something to this effect. He said, all right, there's going to be a big mural when you walk in. It's Buck Rogers fighting swords with Luke Skywalker, whatever. You'll see it.
Okay.
Of course, there's a big mural in the Fox lot that has the Empire Strikes Back scene from, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader having their lightsaber fight. But yeah, Adam Shapiro, who introduced me to Fox, and had he not done that, there would be no Family Guy.
Wow.
So props to Adam Shapiro. And so I was kind of confronted with this choice. Like, do I accept the offer from Cartoon Network and make Larry and Steve as essentially a kid's show? Or do I take a gamble on a Fox pilot that I would have to essentially animate myself for very little money? But if the payoff comes, it's big.
Apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. And
wow.
And so I chose to take the gamble.
What year was this?
This was probably like 97.
When did Family Guy air? Like officially?
It aired, it premiered after the Super Bowl in January of 99, I think.
Wow. And then it got picked up?
Wouldn't it be funny if that was wrong?
That would be hilarious. We
It
should
could
actually,
be.
we'll do a fact check.
Yeah,
on
do a
that
fact
later.
check.
Everybody on the internet's going to freak out.
Put a
Don't
little
worry about it.
pop-up video. Do you remember that show, Pop-Up Video?
Definitely not. I'm
Okay,
a lot younger than you.
Okay.
So that's a joke. That's fact. No, I'm just kidding. So,
This is way rougher on my esophagus than yours is on yours.
well, you haven't seen my esophagus. You should have seen me 2020.
Haven't I, Bobby?
Yes.
This library, this home, you don't think I've seen your esophagus?
There's a lot of cameras in here. Wow, man. So yeah, it gets picked up. And how many seasons did you do before it got canceled? Because it did get canceled.
It did get, we did 2 seasons.
Wow,
And
that's
then-
it?
yeah, we did 2 seasons.
So 99, 2000, and then it was...
And then it was gone. 2001. No, because 2000, wait a minute. This is,
Are you sure it was only 2 seasons?
because season 3, no, you're right. It was 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then...
if it were earlier in the day, I would have.
See, I look like I could definitely wear your skin because I know a lot about what I'm talking about. So
3 seasons.
3 seasons
yes.
gets canceled.
Yeah.
How many years before it got picked back
That's
up?
right, because season 4, yeah, okay. Wow, it's happened. It's finally happened. I knew it was coming, and now it's here. Yeah, it was 3 seasons.
Okay.
And then, no, I'm just realizing like that's something that should have been on the tip of my tongue. So it got canceled. It was off the air for 2 years.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. Off the air for 2 years. And during that time, this is how long ago it was, DVD sales
Exactly.
of television shows became a thing. And DVD sales.
Astronomical.
Yeah, a Family Guy through the roof. And at the same time, Adult Swim, which was around at that point, was airing reruns of Family Guy, which were doing very well.
And that's where you did that. Sorry to interrupt you. That's where you did the skit, right? Where you were like,
Yes, that
I'm
was
Seth
for-
MacFarlane.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That was for Adult Swim.
For sure.
And and between those two things, it became clear to, and I'd done other things. I'd written on a show called The Pits during that intermediate time in which I met Alex Sulkin and Wellesley Wild, who I wrote Ted with, and I wrote our Western with, and Alec now runs Family Guy.
Amazing.
So that was, Cancellation was a good thing in some ways. And I got called into Fox and they said, listen, we want to kind of, and I quote, sneak this thing back into production. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I thought this was dead. I thought this was gone.
So are you like ecstatic?
I was very excited.
Wow.
I was very excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I'd tried a couple things in between and hadn't really found anything that worked because it just felt unfinished.
And then American Dad came out when?
American Dad, the funny story about American Dad, we created American Dad while we thought Family Guy was dead.
Oh, whoa.
So I did not intend, nor did I desire to have 2 shows, 2 animated
time?
shows on the air at the same time.
Now you have like a billion, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I figured out the
algorithm.
the algorithm.
You got
right,
it.
Right.
Okay.
How to delegate.
All right.
But so we created American Dad as a response to what now seems like ancient history, to Bush era politics and
Bush.
post 9/11 paranoia.
I love that word.
Yeah, it's a good word. What movie is that from?
I don't fucking know.
Son of a bitch. You like that word, don't you? Yeah, it's a good word.
What is that?
That's
What are you
Henry
doing?
Fonda in On Golden Pond. You ever
When
seen that movie?
When did that come out?
That was 1981.
Oh, right. 81. Got it.
81? Whoa, see, there it is. We found something.
I'm busting your balls.
On Golden Pond. Great theme by Dave Grusin.
So wait, what year?
What?
What year? American
Dad was, I think, what is it, 2005
or 6?
4?
4. Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
2004. We may have started production in 2004. It may have premiered in 2005.
So you're telling me that Family Guy got canceled around
Yep.
2001-ish?
No, that was a mistake. And we've established that was a mistake.
Okay, wait. Well, then when was it? When was it?
I already told you I haven't had a drink in 3 weeks.
All right, whatever.
Family Guy got pulled off the air probably closer to 2002.
Okay.
So between 2003
So you're telling me within 2 years,
Yeah.
they redo Family Guy and then go, let's give you another show.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and you must be just ecstatic.
Yeah, at the time I was not ecstatic about the 2 shows at once. I was overwhelmed. I was like, how in the world am I going to do this?
I couldn't imagine that.
And the first week I remember our office is on Wilshire. I was sprinting back and forth down this long hallway between the two writers' rooms, trying to do it all. And it quickly became clear that that was just not practical. And so I said to Matt Weitzman and Mike Barker, the two writers that I co-created American Dad with, guys, I think I'm going to focus on getting Family Guy back on its feet. Take over.
Wow.
And it was my first lesson in, yeah, you know what? You can delegate, you can hand things off to talented people that you trust. And if they work hard and they're talented, it's going to work. And American Dad did. American Dad is, you know, it developed its own voice, which really has much more to do with the people running that show than it does with me. Like that show is in many ways their
baby.
Know, it's their intellectual. Yeah, it's their baby more than it is mine. They really care about that show. It's to this day, it's nice to see.
I love it. I really love it. Can I ask you something really weird?
Sure, man.
Okay, now
more weird.
It's a little weird. You can decline. I'm not even going to look at you when I do this.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look at you.
I'm looking at you.
Is it okay? And you could be like, fuck off, and then we'll just edit it out. Can I possibly, for a very short time, speak to a few of my favorite characters?
Yeah, I'll tell you a brief story. I auditioned for an improv group called Improvidence in Rhode Island when I was in college. Get it? Improvidence. Mm-hmm. Right? And if you guys are listening,
Dad joke.
Thanks for not fucking letting me in.
Oh, shit.
So that's the spoiler. I didn't get in because I fucking sucked.
Okay.
So, but I'll do my best.
How did you suck?
Because I'm not good off the cuff.
Well, guess what? I'm just going to ask you very simple questions.
Yeah.
So I have a question for Peter.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
This is going to be very easy.
What's your favorite food, Peter?
My favorite food is, I'm a McDonald's guy.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I like a Happy Meal because they give you little prizes.
Okay.
You know, you get like the little Groot action figures. I know that's a sensitive subject for you because of your first girlfriend.
Yeah, definitely. What's your favorite thing about being a father, Peter?
My favorite thing about being a father is that my wife does most of the work. And so, all I got to do is I got to watch, young Sheldon. That's all I got to do. That's my job as a father.
All right. I appreciate that, Peter. We're all good there. I just want to talk to your son for a minute. Stewie.
Yes. What was that? Oh, you're all good there. You're all good there. I feel like there's a bit of tude.
No, there's no tude. I love Peter.
Yes, I understand when you're filling stadiums with 3 million people, all of whom are holding up those little cell phones with the lights on them and saying, oh, we're here. Don't worry. We're still here. We haven't left yet.
Okay. All right. A lot of tude from you. How old are you?
I am 1.
Okay.
1 year old.
You're 1 year old, and yet you just have such an incredible vocabulary. How did that happen?
Oh, thank you. Vocabulary. Oh, yes, I do have an incredible vocabulary, don't I? There's an O in there. Don't disrespect it.
Okay.
Vocabulary.
Have you ever listened to Logic's music, Stewie?
Oh, have I listened to Logic's music, my friend? No, I haven't ever heard a Logic song. I started that leading you to a certain place, and I didn't follow through, and my apologies.
Okay. Anyway, listen, Stewie, it's been great. I have a beautiful golden retriever, and I have an amazing Australian shepherd named Stoney. Brian, what do you think about that?
Usually Brian's voice is much lower than this, but as you can hear, I sound like Joy Behar after a long day of meetings, but I'll do my best. What was the question?
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite?
What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink?
Yeah, Brian.
I'm a bourbon man, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has that work on your esophagus over time?
Oh, it just does a hell of a lot of damage.
Wow.
But I enjoy a bear fight.
A bear fight is honestly...
I enjoy a bear fight whiskey.
It's incredible. I love it. Yeah. Seth MacFarlane sent me a whole case of it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, he has a lot of them, so a case is like nothing. It's like a drop in the bucket for him.
2 more people.
Yeah.
Actually, 3
more. You think
more.
that's a big deal, but honestly, he does it for like literally everyone he knows.
3 more people I want to talk to.
What is that? What is it? What the fuck is that?
That's, you're really in it.
That's like, I had like a chest cold
but you're
3
in
weeks ago, and it's still kind of there.
Yes, that you're in it. You know what I mean? You got it. It's that Mucinex. That's a Mucinex ad right there. Clear this up.
You
Clear
too.
this up with Bear Fight.
Yeah.
Take
Mucinex
one drink and it's
GM.
gone.
They're looking at each other going, guys, we thought we had a podcast.
Yeah, we got one. So I'm a monogamous guy. So this next
I would
question.
hope so, as a married man.
This next question is for Quagmire.
Yeah.
So if you were to ever marry a woman, do you think that you could be faithful?
If you were to ever, what the hell else would I marry? Jesus Christ, Logic.
All right, that's enough there. Okay, all right. 2 more. Last ones, I promise. And then we'll move on. We'll talk about real shit. Stan, what's it like working for the CIA?
That's classified, my friend.
No, seriously, you're not going to tell me anything?
I'm not going to tell you anything.
Why not?
I could have you killed for just asking the question.
I mean, could you really have me killed?
I could have you, your check, please.
Okay, that is enough. I don't want to die. And last but not least, the person who...
By the way, it will be leased. Go ahead. I know what you want to. I know who you want to hear.
I know exactly who you're angling for.
Roger!
Oh my God. Have him come out in his wigs and his little dresses and his heels and his corsets and all those wonderful things that he actually, wish I was wearing all that right now. As a matter of fact, now that I hear myself saying it.
Roger, let me ask you a question. What is it like just being like older than God? It's crazy. You've been around forever. You've experienced life. You've been to a million different planets. Why love Earth so much? I mean, I know you crashed here, you landed, it's a whole thing, but you seem to really enjoy it. I mean, you literally created disco music.
Older than God. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't know it. You wouldn't think it. William Howard Taft, best fuck you've ever had.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate that. Wow. You are a showman. You are truly a showman, and you have made hundreds of millions of people around the world laugh. How does that feel, man?
Yeah, like if we can entertain people and make them forget about their troubles for like I sound like Joel Grey in Cabaret.
Who the fuck is Joel Grey?
Joel Grey was starred in a show called Cabaret. He played the master of ceremonies and
MC.
An MC, yeah, MC. Right, that's what the kids say. MC. If you want to be all 2023 about it, leave your troubles outside.
Oh, wow.
In here, all is beautiful.
That's my Joel Grey impression. You don't know who that is?
I'm going to go look that person up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I just heard his voice spot on though.
Yeah.
But no, for real, like, look, I it's not a fucking competition by any means. I'm blessed enough to have millions of fans around the world, and it's amazing. And when I know that I've created art that has helped them, it really makes me feel special. And a lot of the time when I meet people and they're like, "Oh my God, you changed my fucking life, bro." Yeah. I'm always just kind of like, "Oh my goodness, thank you. That means so much." Like it's kind of hard to take that.
But that has to be very cool. I saw a video that you posted on your Instagram of like
Wait, hold on. You be looking at my Instagram?
Dude, I like Instagram recommends your shit to me.
Okay, continue. So tell me more about how
it's like one of these stadiums where it's like 2 tiers. And everyone's got their cell phones and they're all going like this. It looks like a twinkling star field.
For shizzle.
And that must be pretty fucking cool. Now, that's something I have not experienced. Not to that degree.
Wow, you're making me feel really awesome right now. Thank you for that.
But because it's your music, it's your lyrics, it's things that you like. That's a. And I will tell you this: any animator, not any animator, but many animators that I have worked with have a band on the side. Do music on the side. It's what they kind of secretly want to do.
Wow.
That doesn't necessarily go for me. I'm happiest doing nothing really, I guess. But I always kind of want to be doing the thing. Like if I'm singing, I'm like, boy, I'd sure like to get back to the drafting table. If I'm drawing, I'm like, boy, I'd sure like to be singing a tune, which is a real healthy place to be. But in your case, it's you're kind of living you really are living the dream. Like it's amazing, isn't it?
I'm living the dream.
It must feel fantastic.
We're in like a $30 million house right now, overlooking all of
we are. But,
flex.
But yet I have not walked onto a stage with 2 tiers of blinking lights.
Well, you will in June if you can make it to the show.
Yes. Yeah, I can make it. I've already committed. I'll be there.
We'll see. My dad promised
'cause
he'd be
I've-
there on Saturdays. He never showed up. We'll see about it. We'll figure it
Listen,
out.
Bobby, I'll be at your soccer game. Will you relax?
I
Good
couldn't afford the jerseys for soccer, Seth.
You know,
I just wanted him to show up.
Dad's a busy guy.
Yeah, it's true. Smoking a lot of crack. Anyway, so
Was it actually? It was actually crack.
it was crack. My dad smoked crack. My mother was a prostitute. Crazy shit. Murderers in and out of the household. My brother sold crack. My brother sold crack to our dad. Like
I'm sorry. That's not funny. That's not funny.
It's fucking
That's not funny.
hilarious.
That's like
no, you cannot make that up. My brothers sold crack to our dad, and
But
the
it's,
reason
it's a little sweet too, right?
it's kind of nice because they're like, you know what? Hey, Dad,
yeah.
just come on over here to apartment.
Do you
apartment
still?
2B.
Do you? This is. I should know the answer to this, but are both your? My mother is no longer with us. Are both your parents still around?
Both of my parents are still around. I don't talk to my mother. I
Yeah.
wish I could. Unfortunately, she's extremely mentally unstable
Yeah.
and like kind of racist.
Right. Yeah.
Which is weird.
Good
'cause
combo.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All her kids are black.
Right.
Let's put it this way. One of my most memorable.
Is your mother Lauren Boebert?
Definitely, I don't know who the fuck that is, Seth. What is this? The 20s?
Victory for the Democrats.
Anyway,
go ahead.
so my mom.
By the way, can we just rephrase that? Is your mother Lauren Boebert? I don't know, Seth. I don't know who that is. What is this? The 20s? They haven't gotten to everyone. All right, go ahead.
All right. Anyway, I don't know how that's funny. So listen.
You will. You can look it up after this.
I will Google this and then laugh. My mother, I'll never forget, man, when I was 16 years old. I have a nice dad bod now. I think I look healthy, but I got a slight bitch tit going on. I enjoy it. It's fine. It's from all the bear fight. And actually, no, it's not. Bear Fight, brought to you by Seth MacFarlane.
Listen, it's still alcohol.
It's great.
No one's advertising it as something that helps you lose weight. It just tastes great.
I'll never forget. I was 16 years old. I was super skinny. I walk out of my bedroom. My mom sees me without a shirt, and she goes, "Auschwitz."
Oh my God! Wow.
This is the woman I grew up with. You know,
She thought that's
bipolar.
That's her way of saying you're not eating enough. You got to eat more.
I mean, but she couldn't afford it. We're on food stamps, and she's spending the last of the shit on fucking cigarettes. So this is my life.
So was that like a wake up call for her? Like,
definitely not. She's still asleep. What the fuck do you mean?
Once again, dad comment.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But yeah, my dad. My dad was definitely on a lot of drugs, and you know he's doing better now.
So you have a relationship with your dad?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, if you can call it that. No, I feel like we're trying to work it out. There's been a lot of boundaries. One of the last times I spoke to my dad, he asked me for $1 million to create a studio house for him and his band. So yeah, there's that going on.
Yeah.
You know?
And how is his band? How is his band?
Well, he's, father's a black man, African percussion, congas. Yeah. He's a singer, loves Prince. And he would have been really great if not for the crack.
Right.
But actually, if I'm being serious for a second, I let my father back in my life because I imagined myself in my 50s or 60s, and he's long gone because I drew those fucking barriers that he's crossed every single time. Because every time I see my father, he asks me about money. He asks me about, take me on tour, boy. Let me play some congos behind you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, let me play some congas. And I'm like, shut up. And every time I'd put him out of my life, but this last time I let him back in my life, and he comes to my house, and the first thing he asked me to do is pay all his bills and buy him a truck. And I say, instead of fuck you and sending him back home on a first class plane ticket, I say, why the fuck are you asking me this? I made it very clear. Don't talk to me about money. Don't talk to me about music. I just want a dad. And he goes, I don't know. He looks at me in the face, and it's probably the best answer he could have ever given me. Yeah. And then he later sums that up with, well, here's the kicker. So after my father had me, he did two things. He got a paternity test, clearly, and he got a vasectomy. I don't know how great that makes me feel, but anyway, so he got a vasectomy, and almost 30 years later, he's in AA at the program. He's clean. And there's a woman, she's dying of an illness, terminal illness. She's dying. And she goes, Smokey, because that's what people call my father. Also, I don't know why you would name yourself Smokey when you're a recovering crack addict. But anyway, she goes, I want you to take care of my daughter. Her daughter was 23 years old. He took care of her. He knocked her up. Okay, he took care of her all right. And a year later, after she had the baby, a year later, She dies of a heroin overdose. And my father at 69 years old has a baby for the first time. He had one in the chamber. I don't know what the fuck's going on. You know he got a paternity test.
Sure.
But to be fair, he looks like me. So there's that. And he has my little brother. His name is Ashton. And he's a beautiful little boy. My father remarries to a woman named T, very sweet mother. And long story short, walks in my house, asks me for a fucking truck, asks me to pay all his bills. I say, why? He says, I don't know. And then he says, you know, I'm embarrassed. I said, what? He goes, I'm financially embarrassed. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I just want to leave something for your brother. And I say, Dad, you know what? Fuck it. You want a truck? I'm going to buy you a truck. You want some money? I'm going to give you some money. But what I'm going to do is we're going to make an album together. You've always wanted to sing your whole life. You wanted to do it. And he's a fucking good singer, man.
Yeah,
He really is.
yeah.
You wanted to do it your whole life. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to do a fucking album. We're going to make it all about the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations of family. I am going to give you publishing, and 50% of every dollar you make is going to go to a trust for my little brother that you, me, nobody can touch until he's of age. And the rest goes to you to take care of that boy and do whatever the fuck you want to do. How does that sound? And he goes, sounds great, nigga. Let's do it.
But that does sound great. That's a great answer to that. First of all, you know, look, I don't know is sometimes the smartest answer you can give to a question. But yeah, that's a oh my God, that's textured.
Yeah, but you know, I think the thing is now that we're talking about me, I appreciate it. My whole life, you know, like for real, like my father, he always promised he would show up and he never did. And I think this is kind of a way for me to be able to give him what he wants in a selfish manner, but do the best that I can to teach him a lesson and show him about Black ownership, investment, truly understanding the worth of a dollar. And I'm with it. Instead of doing what I've done a million times before, saying, why are you asking me for money? Why are you doing this? You know what? Let's see if it works.
And he's and again, look, I mean, his story is you know his story. I
know his fucking story.
I don't. But you know, sometimes it's like this is a terrible analogy, but it's like giving a bunch of cars drive by the guy panhandling on the street, and the one person that stops and gives him $10. It's like, why not? What's the downside?
That's how I see it. I mean, I did buy him the truck, and then he goes, son, this is a bad buy. The first thing the motherfucker says to me, he gets it from the dealership. He goes, I need the Acura. And I stop. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I stopped and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I just bought this guy a great car. It's not good enough. And it almost feels like me, like I'm never good enough as a kid. And then I just got to stop all that shit. And I go, all right, you want the next best shit? Here you go.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I've always done the no, dad. So now I'm kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Let's see what happens. And if anything, if I'm just being completely honest to the whole wide world, it's just more material to write about on this fucking album that I'm doing with my dad.
Yeah.
So
it's so complicated with family because obviously cliche, you don't choose them, but they essentially they have first crack at your brain.
Yeah. And definitely a lot of crack. That's for sure.
And much of that was not a pun on purpose, but yeah.
Yeah, you made it work.
Yeah.
You're just a genius.
But it is they there's a lot that your parents imprint upon you that whether you like it or not. Again, the stories you hear, the experiences you have at that young age, any neurologist will tell you that they inform a lot more about your life than you think you do, and a lot more about your life than you want them to.
As a father, sorry to cut you off, having a child, my little boy's 3. I have another one on the way, little Leo, who I named after my best friend.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've been fucking. And
is Mr. DiCaprio flattered?
He is very flattered.
Yeah.
It's funny actually, because so my best friend's name is Leon David. And so I named my son to be Leon David, which is his, my mother's father's middle name, David. And we call him Leo because, who doesn't love Titanic? But seeing my son,
Everybody loves Titanic.
who
We get
doesn't
it.
love
We
Titanic?
get it.
It's
It's a
great.
great movie. Everybody loves it. Best picture. My God.
Yeah, but
We
that
love it.
bitch definitely could have fit that motherfucker on that door. Am I right? I mean, there's all this space for her ass, and he just like, I love you, and he floats, fucking goes away, and he's dying. What the fuck is that shit? Anyway,
Good for you. You just use that mic like an old time radio drama.
speaking of radio
just-
dramas, did I ever tell you about what I did with Morgan Freeman? That's not even out yet. It's crazy.
Whoa, is this?
No,
that's a hell of a sentence, right?
It's
there.
insane. I got to tell you about it. Basically, long
Out
story short,
out like it's a something.
No, it's
a
not out yet.
creative, like or out
it's
like
done. It's recorded.
Like Ronan Farrow is gonna.
I don't know who that is. Anyway,
You know Ronan. Okay, all
all
right.
right, come on, bro.
No, he's a hard hitting. Forget it. All right.
Okay, so I created a story called "The Ballad of Rooster Jenkins" about a runaway slave in
The Ballad of Rooster Jenkins.
1863.
Yeah.
Upon the Emancipation Proclamation, and this fucking awesome slave runs away from the plantation and goes on an incredible adventure. But it's not like hella deep, like crazy. It's like Rap Django.
Yeah.
It's like fucking
He's
so fun.
He's Indiana Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, Morgan Freeman narrates the entire thing. It's already done. I got some of the greatest voice actors to do. I got Phil Lamar.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, I got Steve Bloom. I got Carlos Elizraki, who
Yes.
played Rocco. Yeah, I
Yep.
got fucking everybody. Mary Elizabeth McGlenn is directing. It's
Yeah,
fucking
you got some
insane.
good people.
But that's just a fucking side note. Looking at my son, it shows me, like, I think about this like smoke-filled, infested house with roaches. My roaches had roaches, okay? Like, it was like crazy, all right? I had powdered milk and wild shit. And I look at that and I just never know how my parents could have treated this little boy. Because I look at my baby and I see myself and I'm
Yeah.
like, how could you treat this little boy that way? And I know that deep down, that's addiction. And I can't hold on to this like negative aspect and all this anger. You just have to let it go, and it is what it is.
And addiction is the, it's like you look at something like COVID, the way people feel about lockdowns, they resent them. They hate them. We didn't have to do this. This is horrible. And yet what people don't realize, the lockdown is the last line of defense when you didn't prepare for any of the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
The lockdown is the last line of defense. That's what you do when you had no infrastructure in place to prevent the thing from happening in the first place. And that's, side note, biggest misconception about COVID. But yeah, it's like addiction is whether through their own actions or through just their lot in life and the inequities of society, that was where they wound up, was addiction.
Big question.
Yeah.
What makes you happy?
That's a very, very good question. I can distill that down to something that I put into the Orville because it was a thought that occurred to me randomly at some point during some day when I was writing. Happiness, I can define happiness.
This motherfucker give me a Webster's Dictionary version.
I can define happiness. When you awaken in the middle of the night, as many of us do, as I do often, and there is nothing to keep you from falling asleep again, that means you're happy.
So, motherfucker, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is, look, I mean, it's the same thing that makes you happy. When you do, people like us are a fucked up breed because I'm sure you have a lot of anxiety.
Understatement.
Yeah. Do you have panic attacks?
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, of course. Are you
Like
kidding?
your heart's thumping?
Dude,
Your adrenaline's pumping?
I have had a panic attack to the point where I have experienced something called derealization, where it feels like you're looking through the entire world through fucking glass, bro.
Yeah.
I feel you.
How often do you have panic attacks?
I had panic attacks every day for 5 years, went to therapy, have worked on it, and it's been a while. So
Been a while.
I know.
How long?
Since a full-on panic attack, probably like 4 years.
That's great. That's great. Every day. Yeah. I've never had them every day, but I have them periodically, like just at intervals.
A good amount.
A good amount. And the same thing that causes you to have a panic attack is the very thing that makes you able to do what you do. to be creative, to be constantly, because I'm sure you're thinking about your work at all hours of the day. Whatever you're doing, you're thinking about your work. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And that makes you happy. Your work makes you happy. Like creating makes you happy. Putting something out. We're humans are natural born storytellers. And when you get to make that your career, it's the greatest thing in the world. And what you do is storytelling. What I do is storytelling. That makes you happy. When you see that connection that you make with an audience, for all of the evils that social media is responsible for, when you read something online and somebody's been affected in a certain way by a story that you've told through song or through narrative, that makes you feel good. That makes you happy. The same thing that lets you create the thing that elicits that kind of reaction causes you to have these moments of just horrible anxiety. So what makes me happier is the same thing that makes you happy, is those moments of communication between you and somebody in a very distant place.
Wow, man.
And boy, do you pay for it.
No, that's real. I think we put our heart and souls into our art. And I think when it comes to our fans, our direct base of the people who love what we do, Alan Watts, I say this everything, but Alan Watts said, anything you can be interested in, you will find others who are. Mm-hmm. And I have literally based my entire life upon this fact. Like, bro, I'm a black white guy in rap. Like, I don't really fit in. You know what I mean? And like, I love sci-fi. I'm out here rapping about fucking Star Wars and all this shit. And in many ways, I'm the first of my kind to put myself out there, especially on a mainstream level, and do those things and talk about those things. And with the positivity that comes with that, with the millions of people who can relate to that, also comes a lot of negativity, which leads me to my next question. By no means a downer, but how have you, I guess, kind of found your way through social media? Because well before social media was even really a thing, you know what I mean? You were doing your thing, whether it was at Hanna-Barbera, working with Fox, doing all these other things. And then social media comes in and I think journalists are fucking incredible.
Yes, so do I.
If somebody who writes an entire article about how much you suck, but they like fucking went to college, got a degree, earned it, take the time to go through all the things they don't particularly like about it, amazing. Yeah. But then when you give that same power to every person in the universe with a Twitter account, has that ever affected you?
You just said it more eloquently than I ever could. It is true. Like I am also, I will defend to the death the presence and existence of journalists. As you said earlier, print media is in trouble. It is. Yeah, I mean, look, the way I look at it, like when you look at a New York Times article on Instagram.
That's funny. That's a funny sentence.
But they do have an Instagram. And you look at the headline and you read it and you maybe click on the link and you read the story. That story, whether you agree with it or not, whether you connect with it or not, has been written by somebody who did the research, who did the work, who did the footwork, who put in the hours to at least make an attempt to communicate the truth to their audience. And they're not perfect. They're not
still. They're just their opinion.
They're not perfect. If they make a mistake, and they do make their share of mistakes.
Shout out Complex. Y'all fuck up all the time. Anyway, continue.
There are retractions. There are admissions of that. That's what separates Fox News. Fox News is in it for the dough. That's as simple as I can put it. They're in it for the money. And they make a lot of money and they get a lot of viewers. Is it worth it? Wouldn't be to me. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Definitely not.
But it makes them a lot of money.
Complex.
And when you look at legitimate journalism, I go back to what I said. You look at a New York Times article on Instagram, and then you look at the comments, and everyone thinks they're an expert. Everybody thinks that they know better than the person who did the legwork. everybody thinks they know better than the person who put in the hours, did the research, did the interviews, did the follow-up, did the best that they could to make sure that everything that they put into print is factual. And maybe they missed something, maybe they fucked up, but they did their best.
Yeah.
And then, me, Johnny Spaghetti stain on his shirt, writes a comment. That's bullshit. It's shocking to me that any press outlet just they consent to comments under there, because there are studies that have shown that if you read an article on social media, you process it a certain way. Once you read the comments and you start absorbing the inevitable extremism that comes with the comments that are kind of reduce that to black and white, your perception of the original article is affected. That you go back to the original article and you look at it in a more extreme, more polarized way.
Yeah. And I think that's also gauging one way or the other. Almost if you have a, basically like if you don't like somebody and they kind of say like, this is why this album or movie is bad, you immediately go, oh yeah, totally, that's why. And it's like this kind of like sheep herd mentality. Now you, and this is a real question. You, Seth MacFarlane, the fucking GOAT, the man who has accomplished what we all hope to as creatives accomplish, to be revered, loved, respected by millions of people all around the world for simply writing and creating. Hundreds of millions, you fuck. Are you kidding? Dude, you're the guy. Now you, that guy. Have you ever found yourself kind of flustered by a comment? Have you ever personally read something that made you second guess your art and your creativity as a man? Wow.
Before I hosted the Oscars, I went to meet with...
Flex.
Okay. I went to meet with Billy Crystal.
Oh my God, extra flex.
What just any pitfalls, anything you can tell me to avoid this or that, just, and he said, yeah, I'll tell you, you could get 100 good reviews and one bad one, and that's all you'll fixate on.
Wow.
And it is true. It is true. By the way, flex from Billy Crystal. I've never told anyone this story, but I'll tell it on your podcast.
Please.
When I was...
What is it, 8 inches? What does he got?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Big time. Before I walked out on stage, literally probably 30 seconds before I walked out on stage, I had my cell phone with me, because who puts down their cell phone ever?
Of course.
And Billy Crystal texts me and says, by the way, one thing I forgot to tell you that's the most important. Oh shit, my battery.
No way.
That was his text.
You swear?
I'm like, this guy is fucking fantastic.
He was just trolling.
He was trolling me.
I love it.
I'm like, it was like the best thing I could have. Yeah. It's like, okay, the comedy gods have blessed me.
The comedy god himself.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think that you yourself.
But I was going to connect that to...
Oh, sorry. Look at me, an asshole.
No. Because what was your question?
My question was, do you ever find yourself kind of in a comment or affected by a comment?
Yes. Yeah, right. Okay. That was a side note, right? Yeah. No, of course. No, you read something that's negative and that's the fucked up thing about social media. And that's the fucked up thing about Twitter, is that we're not, to say we're not meant to blah, 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 anything feels overly simplified. We're not meant to feel fatalistic, but we shouldn't have this kind of constant direct contact with, as much as we love them and as much as they truly do mean a lot to us, and they're the reason that we're here. The degree of direct contact that we have with our fans is just not natural.
I agree.
It's not natural. It's not healthy. And, you then put the algorithm into the equation.
Of course,
social media, does what it does. And if I were a computer expert, I could explain the algorithm to you. I can't. But, it goes back to the sociological thing of, we as humans are designed to have a community of 150 friends tops. That's supposedly all we can handle. All our brains can handle
in a lifetime.
150 friends at any given time.
And Tom's got a lot of them from MySpace
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck. I don't even know where we are, what year it is.
But here's Twitter and Facebook and social media and these companies that have now expanded our friend base to something that's far vaster than that. And we're having to reconcile this, and our brains just can't process it.
Yeah, I think the amount of media that the average consumer who is truly addicted, which is a majority of human beings on this earth, to social media that they see a day is like insane. It's like 50 years worth of shit that you could see in a day.
Yeah.
Of just like media and TikToks, and you're scrolling and going and going. And that's why that algorithm, it really, I mean, it knows you. If you like steroids, you're looking at a bunch of fucking barbells every day.
It knows you. And not only does it know you, but it's designed to look. I mean, it's if we want to get deep here,
let's get deep.
Pioneers of Silicon Valley thought the way any of us would, the way you would, the way I would. They thought that bringing the world together in this way would be something that can only benefit us. It will make the world smaller. It'll make the community. They had almost this science fiction vision of a connected world being better because of it. That we, it's if you live in a city, you're exposed to diversity. As opposed to as opposed to live in a rural area, you're maybe not exposed to diversity as much. Rural.
Agreed.
How can that not make the world better? Completely understandable. Any one of us in the early 90s or the late 80s, whenever this all, had its genesis, would think that way. But it's like nobody consulted with a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a sociologist.
It didn't exist though. Like that's the thing. It's one of those things where like we live in an era where we're the first of our kind. If it wasn't Silicon Valley, it'd be Death Valley. We're all headed in that direction anyway. And I believe that, our predecessor, I can't even necessarily call it a mistake. It's essentially inevitable. Like this is where we're going. If they hadn't done it, somebody else would.
That's a good point too. Yeah. Somebody would have done it.
Yeah.
Somebody would have done it. Somebody would have brought us all together in some way.
It's also like sorry to interrupt you. It's also like the DVD Family Guy version. Like the internet's amazing because if I'm being completely honest, like, yeah, sure, I shit on the internet. I talk about how it's very difficult to be an artist in the world today when you put something out and people say it's amazing, but then there's a bunch of comments that's like, you're terrible, you should kill yourself, I hope your baby gets AIDS.
Yeah.
Like these are things that I've legitimately seen. Like it's fucking
believe
insane.
me, I've seen the same. The number I get once a day, actually usually multiple times a day, I get, Seth MacFarlane should have been on that plane that hit the World Trade Center.
Oh my goodness.
Every day. And that's, look, it's like at a certain point, I'm desensitized to it, but
Which
that
is sick
that in a way is kind of fucked up.
Exactly.
It's kind of fucked up. It's like, it's people who are like us with a lot of good intentions thinking, we're going to change the world for the better. And they thought what any of us would think in their position, but it just didn't work out that way.
But also we're ourselves and they are them. One of the worst comments I've ever seen on the internet ever. Ariana Grande, the singer?
Yeah.
What? Why do you laugh at that?
I do know Ariana Grande. Yeah. Yes. I did the carpool karaoke with her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Flex. Shout out that. I got to check out that
Yes.
episode.
I know who that is.
Okay. So Ariana Grande, incredible musician.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Do you know who Paul McCartney is?
I don't know. What isn't he like a roach? He's a part of the Roaches, right?
By the way, I said this.
Did you not get the Beatles
You know who
joke?
you just reminded me of?
What?
Frank Sinatra Jr.
Oh, I did?
Yes.
You're so sweet.
He gets a lovely, lovely man, and this one charming idiosyncrasy that he had. He used to come in to do Family Guy, and maybe it was the age difference, but he used on more than one occasion. He said, Seth, and I'll give you a couple examples. There was a very famous television series called Star Trek.
What's
back
that?
in the 60s.
What is that?
And I had the same reactions you
Yeah,
had.
for sure.
At a later date, he said, Seth, there was a very successful director long before your time named Alfred Hitchcock.
He said this to you?
Yes.
Like you don't fucking know who the guy created the birds and shit?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's a charm to that.
So I just did that to you.
He is setting me up for, in case I didn't know who that was. He's setting me up. What a gentleman. Setting me up not to be embarrassed.
So you don't know who Ariana Grande is, but I do. And let me tell you, she is the bee's knees, brother.
Yeah, no, she sings Material Girl. Absolutely.
Dude, a voice like fucking butter. She's incredible.
Yeah.
And
a great instrument.
She had
Truly great instrument.
She had a show and she performed, and there was a fucking bombing, like a terrorist attack at her show.
Oh, yes, in Manchester.
And
right?
people died, bro.
Yeah.
And next day, I'll never fucking forget. This was years ago. And I can only imagine what she went through and the power that she had to go through. Because not to sidetail, but I remember I was the first American artist to play in Paris after the shooting. And I played at the same show, the Bataclan, and I was the first one. And I remember being on that stage and talking about, like, we can't be scared. We have to fight the negativity with love and peace. And I was fucking terrified. You know, because I see motherfuckers in the crowd who just staring, they're just mean mugging, but really they just don't like me, and their friend brought them to see me perform and shit. And I'm like,
no, but it's like post 9/11 where you get on the plane, you're like, oh my God, everybody wants to kill me.
Exactly. So after Ariana played this show and you know this bombing happened, the next day I saw this fucking tweet that was going viral, and people were sharing it and liking and laughing, and it said, I can't wait to see Ariana's next show. I hear it's a blast.
Yeah.
What the fuck kind of world do we live in where somebody would say something like that?
Yeah.
Now,
but prior to social media, that wouldn't be on our radar. Now it is.
yeah, I mean, it's different if it's like, because I mean, even, you know, comedic writing, that's different. And I know it sounds crazy. It's definitely like, of course it's a sensitive subject. So is fucking cancer. But I believe that a great writer, you know, people like Chappelle, great comedians, they take pain and they use it so that we can all kind of laugh at each other and we can laugh at that negativity. And there's a time and a place. I think there's a much different space for somebody like yourself to make a crazy fucking hilarious joke as opposed to just some asshole on Twitter. Personally.
Yeah, it's such a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, that kind of comment is you know, look, it's toxic. You don't want to see it. Nobody needs to see that. There's no productivity there.
Yeah.
The flip side is, you know, if you read Ron Johnson's "So You've Been Publicly Shamed," which chronicles the number of people who have had their lives ruined because of a bad tweet.
Damn, I got to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good book. Reality is somewhere in the middle. We want to exist somewhere in that point of equilibrium that is not this or this. And yeah, you're right. A tweet like that is something that none of us should have to look at.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, we're nearing the end of this journey. And I feel like I could talk to you all night, but also I feel like your security guard is going to fight my security guard to get me out of here, actually. He's going to say,
he looks pretty relaxed.
Yeah, he's great, but he's always on edge.
He looks like he doesn't look on edge.
No, he's not on edge. He's always prepared.
He looks like
he's like
if I went into like a karate stance, is that what that is?
Karate?
Yeah, that's
I don't know. What are you, fucking Daniel's son? What is this, Karate Kid?
Man.
Why are you dating yourself again?
I took like 3 years of Taekwondo when I was a... Thai? That's how little I remember.
That's great.
I don't remember anything about it, except, you know, the only thing I remember about my Thai, is it Thai? Taekwondo?
Yes.
Or Taekwondo?
I think it's Thai.
You think it's Thai?
I think it's spelled
The only thing I remember about Taekwondo, I don't remember any of the moves. I don't remember any of the blocks.
Uh-huh.
Well, that might have been one.
You just pulled a muscle.
All I remember is yawning one day in class and the teacher going, "Whoa, hang on, everybody, hang on. Am I keeping you up?"
Oh, shit, really?
That is, yeah. I was like 13 years old.
Have you ever heard my Seth MacFarlane?
I would love to hear your Seth MacFarlane.
It's not good, but it's like this. I'm Seth MacFarlane. That's it. There it is. Like when I tell this story, like to my friends.
God, it sounds like a cigarette commercial from the 40s.
That's how you sound.
The rich, full flavor and cool mildness of Camel cigarettes suits my T-zone to a T.
I tell the story of you meeting Kanye West for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I tell that to my friends.
Good, God damn it, good for you, because I can't tell that story.
Can I tell the story? Because I tell it amazing.
Do you? Have you
Yes.
told it on your podcast?
No, I have not.
You haven't?
I'm going to tell the story like I tell to all my friends to you.
Okay, I want to hear your version of okay.
So I'm in the studio. There's like 13 black guys there. And I'm like this. So I met Seth MacFarlane. We went to Craig's and we ate some Italian food. And they're like, "Wow, that's so cool." And I was like, "Yeah, man, he's great." And they're like, "Is he woke? Is he a woke white guy?" And I'm like, "He was never asleep." He's the fucking coolest guy I've ever
That's
met.
dad joke number 3.
That's not a joke. That's real. You're very awake, my friend.
No, man. That's like Bob Hope could have written that.
And I go, Bob Hope. Wow. Okay. And I go, yeah, man, he told me, because honestly, if I'm being honest, it's really sweet. Because you go, yeah, man, everybody told me I had to meet you. And I'm like, what? And you're like, I got a call. And
By the
these
way,
people said,
Meetcha, Meetcha, Meetcha.
I like that you've been
Everybody told you I had to meet you.
I like it. Look at this. What is this? The 20s?
Yeah.
So anyway,
all
like
about-
everybody
it's
said I had to
about
meet you.
20s.
And you said, that only ever really happened to me once before. This is how I do it. This is how I do this. This is how I do the story. And I go, really? And this is how I tell it. So shut up. Don't say anything.
you see me talking?
Okay. So, and I'm like, yeah. And Seth goes on and I'm like, oh man, tell me, what are you talking about? And he goes, everybody was just in my ear. You got to meet this kid. You got to meet this kid. There's only one other time this ever happened. I said, when, Seth MacFarlane? That's how you say a real rich motherfucker's name.
Did I say in my ear? Everybody was in my ear.
Everybody's in my ear. You probably didn't say that. This is why I'm good at telling the fucking story.
Okay, go ahead.
So you go, everybody's in my ear. Same, yeah. And you go, yeah, that only ever happened to me once before. And I say, with who? And you go, Kanye West. And I go, shit. Kanye West? Are you serious? And you go, yeah. And I go, tell me about that story. Seth says, well, I'll tell you, Bobby. Takes a sip of fucking some James Bond shit he's drinking. And he goes, so I was just minding my own fucking business, and I get a call. I got to go to this place to meet this guy. So I drive up. I pull up, big house, nice mansion, and there's this guy, this big ass guy. He's looking at me. He goes, "What you want?" And Seth goes,
I don't think I did the accent, just so you guys know.
"Definitely did it." Anyway, so he goes, "I'm here to see Kanye," and he goes, "Hold up." And the guy
I think I had an L in there. I think there was an L.
I thought
when
you weren't
told the
talking.
story.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so he's the guy's like texting some shit and he says XYZ and he's like, "Go ahead." So Seth's like, "Thank you, sir." And then he drives in and he goes up and he pulls up and there's another guy there to go, "In there." So he walks through this crazy house and
It's
he's
the
like,
same guy.
and he's going through these crazy contraptions. And then he says, "And then I ended up in a toy room." And I say, "What? What kind of fucking toys? Was there like a sex wing or something?" And he goes, "No, it was nothing like that." He goes, "There was just like wooden ponies and little things all around." And I was like, "Okay, what next?" And he goes, "Well, I'm in there for like 20 minutes. I'm just, twiddling my thumbs, waiting." And then the next thing, Kanye West just bursts in and he's like, "Yo, what's up, motherfucker? How's it going? What's good? What's going on? Check it out. Listen, I want to play you this shit from my new album." And Seth goes, "All right, sounds good. Let's hear it." So Kanye, he starts fucking playing his shit and he's all fucking on the table and he's going crazy and he's listening to everything he says and he has no fucking idea because me and Seth were talking and he's like, "I like Sinatra. I like different things like that. And if I'm being completely honest, I really don't know a lot about rap. I respect it. I appreciate it. I think it's a great American folk music, but I don't know much about it." And after he listens to the song, Kanye goes, "What you think?" Seth goes, I didn't really know what to say. In that moment, I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do. So I said the first thing that came to my mind. Kanye, I think you knew the rules and you broke the rules." And Kanye looks at him. He fucking stares into Seth MacFarlane's soul and he says, "Exactly." And I fucking died. And I thought that was hilarious. And it was amazing.
I'm not gonna. I have like 1,000 corrections. I'm not gonna correct. I'm not gonna correct one of them.
I like it. What's your version?
It's I mean, it's.
Is it a lot less black guy voice?
Yeah, it's a lot less. But yeah, it's a lot less black guy voice.
You
It's
definitely
less,
didn't do black guy voice.
No, it's my version paints me as more kind of the fish out of water, who's there, kind of like I'm kind of the Bob Hope in the
Bob Hope
scenario.
again,
That's
shout
like,
out.
Listen, well, I think, but yeah, I remember being there thinking there's 1,000 people who really should be here instead of me, who might have a better capacity to process what they're hearing and appreciate what they're hearing than I did. But I had no ear for it.
I'll tell you this. That's my Seth MacFarlane story. By
the way, that's great. Your impression of me is very. Goddamn, who's the actor? McDonald is his last name. The guy. Did you ever see the movie Quiz Show?
Dude, 1990.
Quiz Show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but you're not. No, it's much later than
I'm
that.
33.
Yeah. The movie Quiz Show, the guy who plays the game show host in that movie is essentially doing your impression of me.
All right, well,
Go see the movie Quiz Show.
I'm going to go
Don't
as
go
soon as
see
it's
it 'cause
out
it's not in theaters anymore.
Exactly. Look at us doing a bit. We're doing a bit. Oh my God, is that a fucking Orville glass?
Yeah, it is. You just now noticed this?
Where did you get that from?
Yeah. It's like the Hulu website, man.
I am the biggest Orville fan. That's actually how we met.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, what's crazy is I could talk to you all night. We cannot do that. We have to wrap this up. Dave Chappelle skit, wrap it up. We're about to wrap it up.
Bobby's got to wrap it up.
No, we got to wrap it up, man. You got shit to do. Okay, you're fucking Seth MacFarlane. All right, you got.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny?
You got like a harem of hoes in the other room, and
a harem.
You're
of
living
hoes.
life. No, I'm just kidding. Okay,
You know, the alliteration doesn't make it true.
it's all good. I'm Seth MacFarlane. All right. Few more super quick questions.
Yeah.
One that's important to me. What? And I mean this. I don't want some bullshit answer. I want you to be completely honest with me.
Okay.
What do you fear?
What do I fear?
For real.
Let's see. What do I fear? What do I fear? What do I fear? It's a very good. I mean, I have anxiety about things, but what I flat out fear is, I fear.
The real one. The real fucking answer, man.
I fear the deterioration of a planet, whether it be social or environmental or what have you, that has passed the baton from generation to generation, backward as far as the eye can see.
So basically, Mike Judge's Idiocracy. That's what you fear.
Yeah. Mike Judge's Idiocracy or Roland Emmerich's The Day After. Maybe not exactly that. That's a little scientifically dubious, but yeah, you know, I fear that we're the generation that can't fucking do it. That and I'm sure many generations in the past have felt that way. But you do talk to people who are around for, you know, the counterculture revolution in the late 60s, early 70s, and who are still around, and they do say, yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. This is a little more existential as opposed to culturally transformative.
Wow.
So my fear is that we fuck this up.
You know what's crazy? And I just want to...
And it's so easy for us not to.
I want to take a moment and say that it's actually really such a beautiful fear because it's so much more beyond yourself and where you are, and it's more about humanity and people. And I think that really says a lot about you as a man and how much you care about us as a whole, as humanity. So thank you for that.
No, I want us to have an Orville at some point. I want us humanity, to be able to build an Orville.
But I think I've seen that also in the show. I mean, the things that you talk about, the social media planet, all these different things that the real fans will know what I'm talking about out there. You talk about a lot of these social issues and the things that we go through. And I think it's really, I mean, when we're not killing krill, it's really beautiful. And I think that's why the show resonates with me so very much, even down to Isaac and the doctor and their relationship and what is human and what isn't. And I can feel so much of you, your heart, your soul in that show specifically. I think, you know, watching Family Guy, Ted, A Million Ways to Die in the West, these different things like that's you as a comedian. That's you talking about shit that you see in the world or even the past and making jokes about it and XYZ. And that's great, bro. But when I fucking watch the Orville, I cry. I don't even mean to sound a type of way. It makes me fucking cry, and it brings me emotion. And I can tell how much you care about human beings, you know, all, you know, any race, religion, color, creed, sexual orientation. You're a fucking good man. And I feel that you want the best for the world. So yeah.
I don't have to sit here and take this from you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Seth MacFarlane, for
It's my pleasure, Mr. Bobby.
joining me on this. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with before we go?
Wow. Anything? No, you've covered it all. But,
So what is it like?
Thank you for your, I'll say that, look, man, the Orville is the easiest time. All I can say is it's the easiest time I've ever had as a writer.
Wow.
Family Guy, as much as it works, Ted, as much as it works, it was work. The Orville was like, you just
So
put pen to paper and it just kind of flows.
season 4, what's up with that?
We're working on it.
You working on it?
Yep.
You know you got to put me in it though.
Oh, I do know that.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
You know I got the acting chops.
Oh, I know. You can't command a 2-tiered venue and not have the chops.
Now, before we end this incredible thing, I just want to what were you going to say? Go ahead, just say it, Brandon. Say it.
What about Norah Jones?
What about
Oh, he's got a
Norah?
microphone.
I know, he's got a
There
microphone.
we go.
Shout out Brandon. We just got to shout out Norah.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
the sweetest. She's amazing. It's a
Nora's the
friend.
sweetest person alive.
Dude, what a voice.
Oh, fucking A, what a voice. And it's interesting. It's only gotten better. And not to like, she's still very young, but it's like the older she's gotten, it's only gotten better.
Insane. And when
What were
you going to say?
No, it's like a thing for me. It's like Norah was like in her 20s when she hit success.
Of course. Grammy out the gate.
Grammy out the gate and phenomenal singing voice.
Insane.
But you listen to her now and it's like, oh, now it's like that great thing made even more textured and even more fulfilling when you listen to it. I agree. Fulfilling to the ear. Yeah, but it's just an interesting, like we lionize and deify these musical artists when they're, before their voice has probably reached maturity and before it's reached its full potential. And then they go away in so many cases.
Or they don't, like Sinatra.
Or they don't, like Sinatra.
Sometimes I hear Sinatra in his old age, but if I'm being completely honest, so first of all, shout out Norah, we love you.
Yeah, we do love you, Norah.
If I do say about Sinatra, I can hear him, like if I listen to like the best of or this or that of Sinatra. But there's a part of me that's like, fuck yeah. Like some people might have been like, oh, maybe he should have hung it up. But I'm like, man, I love that this fucking guy was going till he couldn't go, personally.
How many, he started in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. That's a 5-decade, I had to count that out on my fingers because I'm a right brain person.
Technically even earlier than that because his mom was putting him in, she was taking him to like the boy groups and shit he was in. I mean, he was
who was a 5-decade career?
I don't know, Drake?
And each decade so different. And you talk about somebody who not only knew how to adjust how to evolve is a better word, evolve his music, but to evolve his voice, like his voice and what happens to your voice as you get older. Your voice in your 20s is one way, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, your voice changes every decade. And I don't know if it's the case for women. For men, when you reach your 40s, supposedly that's when your voice kind of reaches its apex. And you peak, and from there on you go downhill. But if you know how to control it and you exercise it every day, that's when it's at its peak. So Sinatra knew at each stage what his voice could do, what it couldn't do, and he adjusted his performance.
Wow. I agree with that.
And if you listen to his singing, it's different every decade, and he's not trying. In his 50s or his 60s or his 70s or his 80s. He's not trying to do what he did in his 20s or his 30s.
That's how I feel about Drinking Again, the song.
Yeah.
Drinking again, thinking of when, and you can hear it. If I'm being
the stuff he did with Jobim, with Antonio Carlos Jobim.
I prefer it when he was older, actually.
You do?
Because I'm like, here's an old man who's drinking again. It just sounds like, it's like, oh shit, like he's in the fucking library thinking about life.
Right.
Like I'm drinking again. Which is crazy. I have one last thing, and we're gonna fucking end it. We've been here forever. I was gonna say this off camera. It's not even a question. I was gonna talk to you about this afterwards, and not even in a weird way. Fuck it.
You preface a lot of your questions like this might be weird, but
because I care. I just want you to know I'm not trying to hit you with some weird shit. I have an idea. And you can tell me to fuck off later. You don't even have to answer. You don't have to say anything right now.
Wait a minute. I can tell you to fuck off later. Like I can say, hey, you know what? Fuck off. Why don't you just fuck off later?
Yeah.
Or later after the podcast is done, I can tell you to fuck off.
Exactly. Here's what I think.
Yep.
I think that fucking music, especially hip hop, was taken by storm by self-medication. I think they loved it. I think that people in that specific space love you and know you for your characters. I have been a fan of your music for years. I have all your fucking albums. You've actually given me a bunch that I didn't have on CD, which I appreciate. I came to your fucking Speakeasy amazing show with my wife.
I will say you have done more for my musical presence than any of my tweets.
Chill.
Yeah.
Okay, Netflix and chill right now. And I'll never forget
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill. It's
Yeah,
a
I
terrible show.
work for Peacock now.
Okay,
We
Peacock.
have our own version of that called Peacock and Fuck.
It's great.
Yeah.
I like that. Brandon likes that. You like that? Why don't you bust out the microphone? How do you like that joke?
Netflix and chill is so yesterday.
What?
Now it's Peacock and Fuck.
How's that?
It's great.
Okay. There it is.
It plays.
Okay. It plays? Are you sure? Or are you just doing that because we're in the man's house? Or does it play? I think it plays. Peacock
No,
and
it
Fuck.
plays. It plays.
That's a good one. Anyway, let's get back to the fucking business. Your fucking incredible speakeasy show. Joel was there, right?
At Vibrato.
Yeah, Joel.
The jazz club. By the way, best jazz club in LA, Vibrato.
And when
Yeah.
I saw Joel, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I've been seeing
Joel
this fucking,
McNeely.
Yes. I've been
Yeah,
seeing this
he's a
fucking
genius. He's a
name
genius.
on all the albums, these vinyls
Yeah.
that I've bought, bro. I could wear your skin.
Yeah. Joel is one of these great composers, like truly great composers who probably should be scoring most of the big movies that you see today.
For sure. So I'm there. I'm at this speakeasy. I fucking love it. I remember I actually pulled out one of your vinyls before the lights went off because we were at the spot.
Oh, that's
Like,
right. The power went out.
The power went out.
That was the night of the big storm.
That was amazing.
Hit the clock. The lightning bolt hit the clock tower.
And you, Back to the Future reference. And for the nerds.
Doc, you
They know.
can't just walk into a store and buy plutonium.
Okay.
Did you
I
rip that off?
I can't even do a doc to like compete with that. Anyway, and I pull out this vinyl.
I have to tell you about the future. On the night I go back.
There you go. That's the best I can do. Go ahead.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I pull out this vinyl and I asked you to sign it, and you sign it, dude. And you write to my pal Bobby, Seth MacFarlane. And then as you're like in the middle of it, I pull out another vinyl. And I was like, sign this to eBay. I actually did say that. And you laughed, which was great, but I just asked you to sign it. It was amazing. But I say this all to say, I am the biggest fan of you, the man, the myth, the legend, from your music to your writing, your creativity, your acting. Like, I really am, man. And my whole life, you've been there for me. You were there for me when my father wasn't, when my mother wasn't, when my siblings weren't. You have changed my life. I'm not trying to be weird. This isn't a bit.
Not
you don't
at
need to
all.
make a fucking joke, dude. Like,
No. I'll throw it back at you. The thing that I've done in my career that look, there's we all do a lot of things that are people like you and I, we do things that make a lot of money, that are big successes. The thing that I've done that has just emotionally meant the most to me, which is the Orville, you have noticed more than any other figure in popular culture.
oh, man.
So that means a lot to me.
Thank you.
And I shit you not.
Oh, well, thank
Yeah.
you, because that show, it's like, and in no way, I'm just being honest. It's like your career has really been there for me in these like eras, these decades of my life. And I thank you for that. And I say all this to say that looking at your Spotify page for the last however many just years of my life, and then somehow me putting a gun in your mouth and getting you to commit to do this song with me, and to see that
By the way, my teeth marks are on the barrel of his 45.
they are. It is it's a sexual gun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Why did I bite down? I don't know. But
I don't
anyway,
know.
keep going.
Almost bit it off.
Yeah.
Pause. Just the tip. So anyway, to be such a fan of you and look at this Spotify page of yours that I've been looking at for years and years and years. I mean, I'm basically every play you've ever had. That's a joke. And then to see my song with you, our song, at the top of that fucking Spotify list. Like, bro, you don't understand. I look at it every day because I just listen to your music every morning. I'm washing my balls. I'm listening to fucking Seth MacFarlane, Blue Skies, all this shit. And it's so crazy to be there. And then we have this amazing song together. And I have an idea.
You know, Bobby, we need each other.
We do.
Yeah.
It's a very platonic, you're my hetero life mate. Anyway, I think, and once again, you don't say shit now. You just tell me to fuck off later. I think, given your relationship, right? Even with the Sinatra estate and, you know, all these people, I think it would be fucking incredible if you picked 5 of your favorite Sinatra songs, I picked 5 of my favorite Sinatra songs. We get Joel to arrange, do everything. 2 days in the studio, big band. I pay for it all out of my budget.
Oh, we can split it.
Fuck that. I
Okay,
pay for
you can pay for
everything.
it.
I'm going to pay for it all. I pay for it all. They fucking record.
That's the bear fight talking, by the way.
It is. And that's why we're fighting.
Yeah.
Beautiful, orchestral, big band, amazing sound. You sing it in your style, your way. And then you let me sample it. Throw it in my sampler, my MPC, chop it up, and create 10 self-medications, and we do a fucking album together.
I tell you what.
How crazy would that be?
I tell you what, count me in. Count me in. That ain't the booze talking. That ain't the Orville booze talking.
How crazy would that be?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
I think that is a way
You heard it here first,
to
folks.
end the podcast.
You heard
All right.
You heard it
drunk.
here.
He's gonna
on
say,
the Joe Rogan Experience.
He's gonna text me and tell him to fuck him off. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
A wonderful.
It was my pleasure. I hope I was coherent. I hope my consonants stayed crisp. I have a feeling they did not, because really, I mean, it's been a month since I've had a drink, and boy, have I had a good.
have I had a good time.
Boy, have I had a good time with you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for being yourself. Thank you for being honest. And thank you for letting all the creatives out there know that they're not alone. We all struggle. We all do the best that we can to create. I love you. I appreciate you. I am honored to call you my friend, and I will forever be a fan. Thank you.
All my sentiments reversed. Boy, what a shitty response.
That's perfect.
That's such a shitty response.
All right. Next time.
Oh, God, I suck.
On Logically Speaking.
That's how every
See you
social
later.
encounter ends with me. Oh, why did I say that?
I love you, dude. Peace out.
Oh.